Well, as you can see, I do have several of the aforementioned Plumb Bobs. A small collection, but nevertheless quite enjoyable. As you can see, as they are in motion, there would be no benefit. What the beauty of these Plumb Bobs is that once that pendulum stops swinging, the point of that Plumb Bob, that is a point which cannot be achieved no other way. That is perfection. The point of that Plumb Bob, when it remains of no movement whatsoever, that's the point of perfection as far as plumb goes. I will show you my collection on a one-to-one basis, and then well, leave a comment. It's the Plumb Bob. I'm not going to classify it as a museum yet. It's just a Plumb Bob collection. And as you can see, I do have the mirror in the background, and that doubles the number. When you have a collection in front of a mirror, let this be the tip of the day. When you have a collection displayed in front of a mirror, then you double the amount of characters, let's say, that's in the display. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and walk you through the collection. Leave a comment. The number one example would be this very nice, heavy Plumb Bob. A plum, several different names. I don't even know what the Latin word for Plumb Bob is. I'm just going to leave that to somebody else. This is a nice Plumb Bob right here. We might talk about this Plumb Bob later. I do have an example. I do have an example of a Plumb Bob that it don't have no string on it. You can manipulate it if you want to, but it's a real nice long taper. I like this, and I do use it as a Plumb Bob because it has it's got this on the other end, but it's really long. So it just adds some rigidity. I'm sure that the point down there would be at the same position on the earth if it was not manipulated by a mild steel, an iron plumb. You could actually manipulate the point, the direction of this Plumb Bob right here with a real high, the output of a magnet was strong enough to either to repel it or to attract it. It could be manipulated with iron. That's one of the reasons that I like a brass. That's the reason I like a brass Plumb Bob, as it's less magnetic to be pulled north or south. Plumb Bobs. This is just a couple of examples. I'm going to pass a couple examples. I'm going to pass in front of you like this right here. See how sharp that is? And that's heavy. This is the brass version of the one on the computer that inspired this video. This is one of the brass versions of that. And a couple of examples of the metal ones. This is almost identical to one of those with this ornament top right here. I do have several examples of the all metal one. Even this round one this is the same version in round stock. I got another one here, and I'm just going to leave this out there for comments. It's got a blunt point on down here. It's not sharp. I'm not even sure it's Plumb Bob. It's got a real nice top in it, and it swings good and everything, but it does not have a point to it. It's blunt. I'm sure it was some kind of special purpose plumb, a bob, let's say. If you know anything about this blunt-ended plumb, leave a comment. I have several. This is a store-bought version of that. I'm sure it was cheap. oh, this is probably the world's cheapest Plumb Bob, and it's the most made. Probably every student in shop class in all the schools across the country, from the beginning of time to now, has probably built this. Every machinist magazine in the country has got a blueprint for this Plumb Bob. I'm just saying, it's not a bad choice for a first. This right here is a cast iron version of a Plumb Bob. It's really nice. I like this. It's a heavy weight actually. It's got a big eye. It's really accurate once it stops moving. It's really accurate. I mean, it's almost perfection. But the mold that they made it in was off. It didn't line up, so it does have a really deep mold mark on both sides, which that's not good. That's just not good. I don't care who did that. It was a bad job. I just wanted to bring a couple of Plumb Bobs to your attention from the collection here on the east coast of Arkansas. And we're going on to something else now. Well, I would call this Plumb Bob chaos, but actually it's not. When you come up on a mess like this right here, I'm gonna let this be the shop tip of the day. When you come up on a mess of Plumb Bobs like this right here, deal with them on a one-to-one basis. If you go at that pile of string, I mean, just head on, just dive in, or you're going to have a tangle that it'll take you hours to deal with. But if you just go at it one Plumb Bob at a time, makes life easy. Just a tip from here on the east coast of Arkansas.